Welcome to the Hype Man Podcast. This is Leroy or Leroy. Either way, it's your boy. Welcome everyone to Ravenloft Campaign Episode 2. And we just going to jump right into it. Thank you for everyone for all the support from the Ravenloft Campaign Episode 1. So we're going to jump right into it. The group decides to take a long rest after the battle with the giant spider. Rhogar was pretty. He was pretty messed up. He was paralyzed, and then wrapped up in the spider's webbing, which was about to turn into a cocoon. We were able to defeat the spider. So Rhogar needed a long rest. We stabilized him back in episode 1. Episode 2, he needed a long rest so he can gain his heal points. And then Prym decides to investigate the dead spider. And she milks the fangs of the spider to receive poison, and this poison can be used can be put on any of her weapons. She has 4 doses of it, and there is not 4 doses. She got 4 vials. Each vial has 10 doses. So she gets that from the spider, which would be fantastic later on in the campaign. She can apply all that to all of her melee weapons, which is great. Her knives, her daggers, her rapiers, because she is a rogue, and rogues are very slick and very stealthy. And then the group decides to. Meanwhile, it's late morning now, so it's late morning, and the group decides to continue to follow the stone trail. Not the Stones Trail, but the trail through the forest. Notice that it's mid-morning, but still here in this forest, everything is still dark. It's still very dark. Continue to head west. The group finds a circle in the forest grounds. That's the circle is created with rocks, and it looks like it's been very weathered, very torn. It's been there for a while. Prym suspects this is some sort of ritual ground, and she was wondering if she can translate the findings of this ground in a psychological manner. Prym can meditate and connect with other worldly beings, as far as like tribes and stuff like that. So she wanted to check that out, and then she finds out that when she's going through this trance, and the rest of us, Igor, Rhogar, and Veinto, when Prym's in her meditative state, translating, we don't hear it, we don't see it, anything like that. But Prym does tell us that she did find some tribal readings in the readings of stories, and it speaks of a dark foe. They used to be here or was formed here ages ago, and it also mentions the Lady 3. And also mentions the Shadowfelt, which is pretty much in a nutshell, it is a dimension that is layered above lower dimensions, and it's like folktale or lore, but it's like this land has been covered by the shadow felt, or the shadow realm, or shadow dimension. So the ladies, and then Prym continues on with the mentions of the Ladies 3. They're very powerful fairies, which is something that Prym decides that she's going to note and keep in her back pocket, because clearly these Ladies 3, whomever they are, must have some sort of powers or gifts or understanding of this world. So the group decides to continue on the trail. We got to the circle, which is like we got to the circle. Prym talks about the Lady 3, and we decide to take a decide to take another long rest. By now, between now and the previous events were about 4 or 5 hours, and we decide to take watch. Veinto decides to take the first watch. Igor takes the second watch. Rhogar and Prym. Prym actually decides to meditate. She wants to continue to learn more about the stone circle, and the other three, Rhogar, Igor, and Veinto, decide to make camping grounds not too far away where Prym's at, just so we can keep an eye on her, just in case if anyone or anything tries to attack her. So we take our shifts, and Rhogar, during Rhogar's shifts, he notices a chill in the air. Chill in the air. It's at night. Notice a very distinctive chill, colder than usual, which is very still. Still, Rhogar sees Prym is still meditating around the stone circle, and she's in her trance, and that's something that Prym does not like to be disrupted when that happens. So Prym sees in her trance, when she's meditating, she sees the ladies three, and they're wearing weather cloaks, and they don't look well. They look pretty weathered was the term that the DM used. So Prym decides to try to communicate with the ladies three, and all the ladies three mentioned to her was Barovia. Hit to Barovia. So they whisper these words, and Prym finally decides, you know what? After all that meditation, she's asleep. She needs to continue to sleep. So we decide, Prym decides, I'm going to sleep right here in the circle, which is good for, I guess good for her, but she likes that type of stuff. But the rest of them are like, no, Prym, you go ahead and do your thing. The rest of us are just going to go ahead and, sleep over here on the camping ground. So now it is Igor's turn to watch, or for his watch. And Igor, during his watch, Igor notices that he's being poked. He's being poked by something, and he's hearing sounds of laughter around him. So imagine if you're sitting at your post, you're getting poked and hearing laughter, but you really can't see it, but you can definitely hear it. You can feel the pokes, but as you're looking around, you're not seeing anything, which is extremely odd. Igor, he hears these sounds of laughter, and they sound like laughter, but they also sound like a mixture of wind chimes. So Igor alerts Prym, who's already pretty tired, and tells her, about these sounds. And Prym gives him a dose of the spider potion that she milked from the giant spider's fangs, and said, "Here, take this dose, and you can use it on your great axe or any other melee weapon that you have. If you hit an enemy with this, with the great axe with poison, it gives them it causes an extra hit point of damage." So that was great. So Igor took that from her, and he says, "Okay, Prym, well, I apologize. Go back to sleep. I'll go back to my post." So Igor goes back to his post, and as he sits down, he notices that his butt is wet. And Igor's like, why is my butt wet? Like, this doesn't make any sense. So clearly somebody is playing a joke. Something is playing a joke. His butt is wet, and still again hearing sounds of laughter. And then, not too far from him, he notices these tiny fireflies. They're like fireflies, just to make a reference what they are. They're like tiny Tinkerbells from Peter Pan. And, they start laughing at Igor. They think it's funny. And, Igor's all about, he's not all about it, but, he doesn't mind a joke and all, but clearly these fireflies are messing with him. And Igor is already tired, and he has no patience for this right now. So Igor shift is up, and then Veinto, it's its turn, and Veinto, um, he finds some sort of music. He goes to where Prym is at, and he's just investigating the stone circle area, and he finds this sheet of music, pretty weathered, wrinkled up, torn in some places, but he decides, you know what, I'm gonna try to, play it. So he pulls out his flute and starts playing the music, and it's not good. He tries, but it doesn't sound right. It definitely doesn't seem like it's a nice, smooth melody. And then so Rhogar wakes up and he decides, you know what, I'm gonna try to play with Veinto. So they're both playing and they are not doing a good job at all. It's not sounding fluid at all. It's not sounding like a good peaceful sound or sound that flows when two instruments are played at the same time. So as they're playing, they're noticing that a thick fog starts to roll in, from within the forest headed towards them, and the fireflies start to disperse. So the fireflies pretty much are giving the group the warning that what's rolling in is not good, and the fireflies are out of here. Yeah, the fog rolls in. It's thick. It starts to get colder. The rest of the group wakes up Prym. Prym is still groggy. She's got her meditation in a good amount, but she's still groggy. So then they're all up. They all decide, okay, what do we do? Like, it's rolling in, and we necessarily, we can't really, walk in this. This could be poisonous. It could be harmful. So all four of them decide to lay on their backs and just let the mist just roll right over. So Veinto decides, you know what, I can levitate. So Veinto levitates 20 to 30 feet into the mist, and to try to see if he can see anything above it. Also, Veinto can also hold his breath for eternity if he wants to. So he holds his breath. He levitates up 20 to 30 feet just to see if he can see anything beyond the mist. And he notices a castle on top of a hill in the distance, beyond the forest, beyond the villages. He notices this castle at the top of the village. Decides to levitate back down. The mist is still going on. He decides to levitate back down, but he can't talk. So communicating right now and trying to decide, hey Veinto, what did you see? He can't talk right now, so Prym decides, you know what? I'm sick of waiting. So Prym stands up in the mist, decides to continue to walk the path that we were heading to before we all, decided to camp out. And Prym almost passes out, but Igor stands up and he notices that it really doesn't bother him that much. So Igor's like, okay, I'll stand up, and Prym is right next to him, so Prym decides to crawl, and Igor's, he's got his hand on her back, like grabbing her against the back and just also assisting her to crawl, as well as Igor is kind of hunched over a little bit. He has Prym with his left hand as Prym's trying to crawl, and they continue to walk through the mist. And then also, Rhogar decides to stand up. He's like, hey, if my buddy Igor can withstand it, maybe I can too. And Igor stands up, and he seems pretty okay. And he also continues to walk right behind Igor and Prym. So we're going to fast forward here. Dawn approaches, and the mist starts to fade a little bit. Our heroes are able to see through the mist quite a bit. So it's like, okay, they got past the thickest part of the mist, and as they continue on the road, they notice too that, like, okay, this should be around where, dawn is, the sun is up, and, they're looking around, looking for the sun. There's not really any sun, but it's definitely some sort of of light coming from somewhere. But in this place, sunlight clearly does not exist. Like it does maybe in some realms in D&D, but here, no go. It's just like a gray haze in the dawn. So the group continues to take the trail west to Barovia, is where the three ladies told Prym to head towards. So as they continue their journey west to the town of Barovia, all of a sudden 3 ghoulish or zombie hands pop up out of the ground, and these zombies attempt to pull themselves up from out of the ground. And the group doesn't know what the heck these are. If they are zombies, they heard of zombies, but they've never seen them before. So the group prepares themselves and draws their weapons. Veinto takes out his bow staff and hits one of the 3 zombies, in the face with his staff. And then also, he has a second attack. He also arm strikes it. Does a good amount of damage on the one that Veinto attacks. Prym notices 2 more zombies heading toward Igor's way, but decides not to go after the ones that are headed to attack Igor. But she helps Veinto to take out the other zombie, the zombie that's already taken the most damage out of 3. Prym decides, you know what, I'm going to attack that zombie that Veinto is fighting and take that one out. Rhogar notices the zombies that are attacking Igor and hits one of the zombies with his shield, and then with his hammer, Igor takes out his great axe and hits the zombie. They didn't take any damage at all. Hits the zombie, and Igor takes out his great axe and then hits the zombie. And then Rhogar jumps and leaps over Prym to bash the shield into the zombie that was on her right. So, okay, I got it. So if you picture this, Veinto's zombie that he first attacked was in the middle. Prym was on the right, but then decides to attack the zombie in the middle that Veinto was going after. And then eventually it sounded like the zombies initially created like a half circle around the group. So, Rhogar leaps over Prym, bashes the zombie in the head with the shield, the one that was to her right, and then all the zombies are defeated. The group continues to walk down the muddy road for about 4 or 5 hours, and then during that time they notice a massive 60-foot iron rustic gate. It also has these 2 huge guardian figures on the side. Bodies are still intact, but both heads have been destroyed from time and rubble or something. But both heads are laying on the sides of these massive statues. Prym notices that they've been. So Prym notices after a while, she kind of gets a good sense of where they're at and where they've been going, and she notices that they've been walking in a circle for about 4 or 5 hours. So clearly Prym puts 2 and 2 together and notices that we're being herded. So clearly the mist was doing the herding of the group, and notice that, well, clearly the mist, whoever's in charge of this place, wants us to head to Barovia. So the group decides to let's continue. What's going on. Let's continue, because clearly something strange is going on in this land. So the group, we all break out, try to investigate, see what we can find to, get through this gate. And Prym investigates, because Prym has her investigation level is really high. So she investigates the gate and the statues that are attached to it, and she noticed that one of the heads that had fallen off had its eyes wide open and its mouth open. And as she investigates that particular head, she noticed that there was a lever inside of the head, and pulls it, and all of a sudden, magically, the 60-foot gate opens, and our heroes enter the 60-foot gate, and that's where we ended. So that's where we ended for that episode. That was episode 2. Very quick, not a lot of exciting things going on, or just a lot of mystery and walking right now, but it's definitely going to pick up. But don't worry, guys. I'll be working on episode 3, which I believe would definitely be picking up. This was just kind of a whole, setup thing. Anybody who's played D&D, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So, but yeah, thank you for this episode. Thank you for all the support of the Hype Man Podcast. And then also, too, if you enjoy everything that I do here at the Hype Man Podcast, go ahead, leave a like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it, guys. And also, too, happy holidays to everybody around the world, man. Be safe, have fun, enjoy time with family and friends. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to go ahead and crank out episode 3 when I have the chance. Get that to you guys as soon as possible. All right, guys, thank you so much again for all the love and support. I greatly appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoy. Take care and have a good one.